It's Charter Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance in the San Gabriel Valley today, joined by Martin Medrano. He is a trustee with the Hacienda La Puente Unified School Board. He's a new school board member. He's been in office about a year, but more importantly, he's an alum of the district. So how cool is that, if I may say, that you're a school board member of the district in which you graduated?
Had you told me when I was in high school or middle school or elementary school that I would be doing this as an adult, I don't think I ever could have believed you. So it's really been one of the great privileges of my life so far.
And what's also kind of cool, if I can use that term, is that you have not had your 10-year high school reunion. So the teachers that taught you are still there probably.
They definitely are.
And they see you, on the dais.
Well, the 10-year reunion is actually next year.
Okay.
So it's right around the corner.
Exactly.
But no, I mean, that's definitely, sometimes it's almost a little funny in a way. Because,
surreal.
Yeah, it's surreal.
Right.
For sure. But it's really nice. It makes me feel more connected than I think some people who have the chance to be on school board can be, because these people I'm standing on their shoulders.
So one of your fellow trustees, Penny Fromeni, who's the president, was she a principal in that district?
Award-winning principal, yeah.
Was she a principal at a school that you went to?
No, she was not.
That's what I want to know.
That's a good question. She was a principal of a lot of my really good friends at Fairgrove Academy.
Okay.
So she was really, and even now as president, instrumental in highlighting performing arts. So I was in show choir in high school, so a lot of Penny's students became my really close friends because of their experience at Fairgrove.
Is it weird calling her Penny? I mean, think about it. Because it's Principal Fromeni, I would presume.
It is absolutely Principal Fromeni. So.
That's great.
Yeah,
okay, so let's
fantastic.
talk about some of the efforts that are moving forward in Hacienda La Puente, which serves, by the way, those two communities, Hacienda Heights and La Puente.
Absolutely.
And there is a measure on the ballot in November, Measure BB. It's a school construction bond. Local will need 55% of the vote. Tell us about the decision of the board to put it on the ballot, a unanimous decision. And why now, and what will it provide?
Well, the wonderful thing about our board is that each and every one of us really does care about, the future of our district, the students in the district, and seeing that, and all of us recognize that our schools still look like they did in the 1960s.
Right.
I mean, I just did some site tours this past week.
I know.
And it is just so clear that our classes need to be ready for the future, because education's changing really quickly. I mean, it's changed since I've been in the classroom 9 years ago.
Right. No, you're right.
And it's only going to advance further. So the board has had a wonderful vision to make sure that we take our district into the 21st century.
Sure. And so Measure BB, it's a $148 million general obligation bond.
Yes, sir.
Like you said, moving into the 21st century, looking to upgrade and replace computers, hardware, infrastructure, expand wireless, upgrade classrooms, improve student safety, athletic facilities, repairs to, 38 sites.
38
I mean,
sites.
there's a lot going on here.
It's a big school district, so there's a lot to be done. We are very optimistic that this thing will get through, and we're going to be vigilant and diligent in ensuring that all 38 sites get taken care of in the fashion that they need to be.
What's also compelling for the proponents of Measure BB is when a construction bond passes, you then make yourself eligible for matching funds, either through the state, the feds, maybe even some private foundations.
Right.
Is that the case with regard to Measure BB?
So in the last question you asked, what was the board, all five of us, impetus and why we need to do this now? That was a big reason why. We have the opportunity to get not just the 148 from our community, but also matching funds from the state.
Right.
So it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to get more money in our classrooms from our students, and we're hoping we can get it done.
What about those folks that would say, look, I'm all about upgrades, I'm all about new computers, but I don't want this money spent on raises. I don't want this money spent on salaries. I mean, God bless our teachers, but how do we know that the money is going to be spent on upgrades, construction?
Good question. The resolution is very specific in what the money can go to. So legally, if in fact it passes, we get that money in our coffers. We have to spend it on those specific things. Also, just a good thing to note,
Please.
there is a citizen oversight committee
Right.
that we will have to hold us accountable for the taxpayers' money. So we're confident that that money will have good oversight and that people will be can rest assured that it'll be spent on what we're saying it's going to be.
I want to talk about the rest of the ballot.
Sure.
November 8th is going to be a very busy day when folks walk into the voting booth. You have, the presidential race, you have a U.S. Senate race, you have congressional races, assembly races, Senate races, you have 17 state measures, you have L.A. County measures, your district's in L.A. County.
We do.
Are you concerned that with the ballot being so crowded that folks won't even get to Measure BB?
I think that initially that I was concerned that voters were going to be oversaturated with information, have different priorities for their own personal ideas on their community and how they want to manifest it through the ballot box.
Mm-hmm.
But we were diligent, at least on the board's part, in running a poll.
Right.
And the poll was very comprehensive. We had a large sample size. It was done by Fairbank. They did a fantastic job. And one of the things that was encouraging to me, at least when I read the poll, was they addressed that issue specifically. Even though there's going to be Measure M, the Prop 30 extension,
Right. And
a myriad of things.
Right.
Do you think you can still support this locally?
Right.
And I'm optimistic that if we run a strong campaign, we make our residents aware that, hey, this is for the kids.
Right.
That it could kind of cut through transcend and cut through all the static from those other.
But let's talk about some of the other measures. Aside from the presidential, the specific elections for folks, there is a school construction bond measure on the ballot that is statewide.
Sure.
$9 billion. And the polling that I've seen, it has it running ahead, but not necessarily by enough to guarantee victory. And it is another school construction bond.
Right.
And so how does that play out in terms of, one could see a voter saying, well, there's a statewide construction bond. That's good enough for me. Yes. Oh, I don't need to do this locally. No.
Well, I think the important thing for voters to remember in terms of the statewide bond relative to our bond is the statewide bond is going to be spread across the state, across different districts. And
no guarantees.
No guarantees. Ours is a guarantee. You're going to see your money go straight into our classrooms. And I think that if you're a voter and you're concerned that, just voting for the statewide construction bond is going to be enough to help out the 38 facilities that we have in our school district, I would encourage you to think otherwise.
The other element of that discussion, which is troubling, I would say, for the proponents of a school construction bond, is editorial boards are starting to come out against the statewide school construction bond.
Sure.
And why? Because they're concerned with the construction process in the state. You used to work for the state legislature. I'm sure you're aware of these challenges. That the sense is that contracting construction in the state is not efficient. And so how do you jump over that hurdle, the bleed effect from the statewide ballot initiative being attacked versus Measure BB?
Well, that's a fantastic question, and I'm really glad you asked that. The past 3 years, the board, and since I've gotten on the board, we have just been really fortunate to have, we had a large reserve, and we have spent it down the last 3 years. We've spent $60 million on putting new fire alarms and systems in, putting new playground equipment in, redoing some of our cafeterias. So for us, in terms of us being a government agency and spending taxpayers' dollars with construction, we just cut ribbons on 2 new football fields in our school district.
And the construction went well?
And the construction went well.
Okay.
So I'm optimistic that...
You'll come back?
Absolutely.
He's Martin Medrano, a school board member in Hacienda La Puente. I'm Brad Pomerance, Charter Local Edition.